Hey, Counterpoints.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Sorry for my kid contributing to the conversation, but I'm out doing dad stuff
That's
like
okay.
usual.
Nice. Look at you having a
Yeah.
family. Ugh,
Oh,
disgusting.
living the trad con lifestyle. I love
Oh
it
my
so much.
God, look at this guy.
Yeah,
Jeez.
so I really wanted to take a look at this, and I'm going to crack on it on my own content because I understand the perspective. I just fucking hate it. I hate it so much. It's kind of like it's like a rawly utilitarian like analysis where it's like, okay, well, I'm trying not to straw man, but it's kind of tough. It's
Mhm.
like my moral system is so obviously correct that if somebody isn't following the moral system, but they help promote it, and as a result, more people adopt the moral system, then I don't really care if they individually follow the moral system. But my objection to this perspective is that, like, I think if you look at like the history of like socialism, and if we want to be charitable, define it as like the decommodification of basic human needs and workers own the means of production. There's so many like political and sociological challenges to this. For instance, the things that they use as an excuse for why Hassan doesn't follow his own rules. And they're like, oh, well, he produces the content, so why does he have to pay his editors fairly? Or these people are mods, so if they volunteer their labor, then who cares? And like, I swear to God, I hear like a chief executive of an unethical company, like when they say this shit.
Mhm.
And then on top of that, like when you're talking about the political implementation, it's like, oh, well, he has no duty to try to implement it in his immediate sphere, and he has no duty to use his wealth. But we do want the government to use force to like force the entirety of society to follow this model. And it's like, if you can't do it yourself, what the fuck makes you think that the government is going to be capable of doing this model without like all of the negative externalities that we saw in the 20th century? And I don't think there's a good answer for that, which is why I'm hammering the fucking war drum on this issue
Mhm.
so hard.
Yeah, no, I
Yeah, I
think
mean,
that's a great point. If these people and the richest people in our country, like Hassan, can't even follow their own principles, this is the perfect example of why socialism is always implemented at the end of a rifle.
I mean, what's a better example of like exploitation by extracting surplus labor than just having mods sit in your chat for 10 hours a day and not paying them anything?
I know.
While you make
Doomer.
$200,000 a month.
Doomer. I have like thousands of mods. Okay, let's be careful here. Okay, let's be careful. I'm not paying my 500 mods.
Our wrenches are like a status symbol. They don't actually do anything. Okay, it doesn't.
I was very uncomfortable during all this paying mods talk. I thought, what the? I have $10,000 worth of mods.
Okay, but then even if we were to forego the mods, or if you were to say like, hey, there's 5 guys that I'm going to pay because they run the community, right? And then you were even to move it down to the editor, like the fucking shallowness of saying like,
I completely disagree with this. I completely 100%
disagree with what?
With the paying the mods thing. It's
well,
like,
okay, fuck the mod. Okay, fuck the mods.
Morally,
okay?
I think.
Okay.
Hold on. If you have
Wait a
a
minute.
community like a church,
Mm-hmm.
where you have community members, like it would be offensive to pay church members to do certain things.
No. I know. Well, you're conceptualizing this incorrectly, I think, Adam.
Mhm.
If you or I streamed, say we streamed every day,
Right.
5 days a week for 8 hours,
Mhm.
and we had, I don't know, however many 10,000 people watch regularly Hassan, or however many
Right.
people it is. Okay, that's going to attract a way more spam bots than we get. That's going to attract way more trolls and people throwing racial epithets, and like, there's going to be so many more problems to deal with.
Right.
And you're going to have someone, they say, hey, I need a team of like this many people who are always watching me every day
Right.
that I'm streaming to monitor this stuff.
Private,
of course you're going to pay those people.
Private security is the difference. They're not
Right.
actually community members. They're private. They're like,
well, no, but even if they usually start off as community members. But I'm just saying, like, of course of course you should pay those people, because you require them to be there. Like, we hand out wrenches like as kind of like a joke. Like, the people don't really like do anything. We're not like, oh, you with the wrench, hexadecimal, I'm requiring you to be in chat, every time we stream.
No,
I want you to
nobody's
make sure,
required.
no, there's
Yeah.
we don't even talk to these people.
Well,
Like,
I mean, there's a much more relevant difference that you're not advocating for a completely different like economic system on moral grounds,
well, that's
right?
true. Yeah, right.
That's sort of the relevant thing. when
Right, but
you're talking
even
about
as
Hassan
a
and Bosch.
capitalist, I would say it's unethical to have all these people doing free labor for you.
Well, in
I agree.
perpetuity, in perpetuity, and when you have the ability to pay them, right?
Yes.
Because this was the thing about the debate. I don't know how long y'all got into it.
Just started.
Oh, great. the good news is you'll be through it in 20 minutes, and then it's just going to repeat itself over and over again. So this was like the moral confusion that seems so obvious to me was that so Irrelevant was like, hey, he's making a shitload of money. He can afford to pay these people. So why doesn't he put his money where his mouth is when it comes to his own operation and when it comes to advocating for the ideals that he cares about? And Vosh was saying like, oh, well, you might be making a subsistence income, you individually Irrelevant, you're making a subsistence income, but you say you care about all of these things, but how much of your time, energy, and money do you donate specifically to the things you advocate for online? We're talking heads. So as a result, our talking head status is enough for us to, be valued in our own ideological communities.
Mhm.
But what bugged the piss out of me about this argument is that the moral difference is clear. If somebody is making a subsistence income and all they can afford is the ability to pay their bills and survive while advocating for ideals that they care about, I would see that as a worthy defense. But if you're making so much fucking money that you could afford to live in the richest area in the country, do whatever the fuck you wanted on an annual basis, and donate like 2 to 10% of your income to the goal that you supposedly care about, the foundation of your advocacy, still be a multimillionaire, then why the fuck is this such a high bar to jump? This is like, and this is what like really frustrates me. I know people don't like the hypocrisy argument. I feel like it's completely fucking valid because again, if you yourself can't do this, then why are you radicalizing a bunch of fucking teenagers to believe in an ideology that you yourself cannot live? It's a fucking problem. And they're like, oh, radicalizing teenagers is its own fucking service. No, it's not. Shut the fuck up. Like that is so ridiculous. Like I can't, dude. And there's one more point. Sorry for being so fucking triggered, but I've wanted to talk about this for a minute. This is like one of the other things that's interesting about the argument is Vosh basically says like, well, a good thing is good and a bad thing is bad. So if somebody has the knowledge of like good and evil and they choose to do an evil action, but somebody thinks that evil action is good, is it not the same like ultimate outcome? And therefore we shouldn't have to care about intentionality. And the answer is obviously no. When somebody does something evil and they know that it's evil, we hold that person to a higher moral account than if somebody thinks that something is good and they don't know that it's evil and they do it out of ignorance or accident. And so the fact that was even a point that was like seriously considered, the only way that you can like philosophically justify that is in some kind of like hyper consequentialist utilitarian, completely divorced from individualism framework. And I don't think anybody operates within that framework except for Vosh.
Well, he operates there when it suits him. So, the ultimate consequentialist.
So the point being is like, if we're hearing how the cooperative model is so much more efficient and so much better and workers are so much fucking happier and this, that, the other, and like all that kind of stuff, then why the fuck is it not being implemented? And on top of that, wouldn't it be great for socialist pundits to create cooperative models that then beat the fuck out of everybody else? And like that's like when you don't do it and then you complain about capitalism necessarily being like more like forcing you into these efficiency choices, it feels completely hollow that your solution is better than what's currently available. Like I don't understand how you can have this disconnect in public where your model is so much fucking better, but you can't implement it on even the smallest of scales. Like, and smallest of scales, by the way, with like 3 or 4 employees and apparently an operating income of $2.5 million. That's too much to ask. And that's what pisses me the fuck off, is it feels incredibly shallow.
Yeah. Look, just, Hassan, who's a millionaire, can't start a co-op with his 3 or 4 employees, but every other business in America that's far more complicated and has a much larger workforce, they should all be co-ops, but not him. Not him.
Complication doesn't matter, Sitch. You don't understand how business works. Come on. Come on now.
Can we bring up how fucking stupid it is that internet socialists are now falling back on, well, he advocates for higher taxes. I didn't fucking know socialism was higher taxes. I thought socialism was fucking decommodification of basic human need and workers owning the means of production. But apparently all fucking socialism is when higher tax. So awesome. I guess everybody is a fucking socialist at this point.
Yeah, they're just sock dems.
Yeah,
there you go.
Just everybody.
Yeah, we all. There you go. So whenever they complain about the Democrats or the liberals, you can just say, hey, but they're in favor of higher taxes. So I guess they're socialists.
So they're socialists. Yeah, you're the same. Guess what? I didn't know that fucking. And by the way, this is like antithetical to the honor system of like any fucking socialist in the leftist space. Calling them a fucking liberal is like calling them a slur. They get so fucking pissed when you call them a liberal. But based off of this rationality, if socialism is just when you advocate for higher taxes and you're willing to pay them personally,
they are all libs.
But they aren't liberals.
That every liberal progressive inside the United States is a fucking socialist.
Right. Yeah, socialists aren't
55% of the fucking country into socialists. Congratulations.
I don't know how you can call socialists liberals if the only way that you can implement socialism is by force. I mean, you're literally taking liberties away from people. You're saying you can't start a business.
Yeah. Well, and this is where the emperor has no clothes for me, because if the libertarians and the libertarian socialists and the anarcho-communists are saying like, oh, well, we don't mean that personally you have to implement like small scale socialism in your personal life. We really want the state to do it. Then you're not a libertarian. You're not an anarchist. Like, shut the fuck up. And the fact that I hear like anarchists and libertarians providing cover for this like rhetoric and ideology, it actually makes me mad. Because I've been in the Twitch debate sphere for the past like 6 months, just swallowing this swill that like, oh yeah, you advocate for these ideas, but you want to do it on a libertarian or anarchist fucking model. And then you check these people's social media and they're standing endlessly for this fucking bullshit. So yeah, sorry if I'm coming in a little hot, but god damn it, it pisses me off.
You're breaking up continually, so
yeah.
I don't mind I love the anger. Bring the anger. Bring the anger. You're like you're a good 7, 8 maybe. You could go we'll take 11. We like that kind of stuff. Yeah.